Hi there everybody, it's Lynnea and I am so excited that I can finally announce that I have joined the Ink on 3 design team. So I'm here today with my first video and my first project for the blog and YouTube channel, and I'm going to be using the new release. So there are 2 new stencils and 2 new 3x4 stamp sets, and I'm going to be using the Leafy Forest stencil to get started here. So when I use a stencil, especially one like this that has all of these little fine details with the stems and the leaves and everything, I like to adhere this to my cardstock using pixie spray. So I'm going to just take the pixie spray and very lightly spray the back side of my stencil. I just kind of let that sit for, it was probably about 30 seconds or so, just kind of give a light application, let that dry just for a second or two, and then I'm going to tack that on to some heavyweight white cardstock. Now I'm going to be using some of the Atelier inks to blend, and at first I thought that I would use the whole rainbow, and in the end I decided to kind of switch things around. I thought that I would want to do yellow and blue and purple and kind of mix to get the yellow and the blue making a green, but then I thought that the yellow and the purple would make a brown, so I ended up going with primary colors. So I'm going to be using the Maryland Red, the Bee Sting, and the Peacock Blue. So you see me here, I started with the Bee Sting and an ink blending tool, and then I'm moving on to the Peacock Blue, and I am just going to add random areas of color here, making sure that they overlap so that I get a full rainbow. So where the red and the blue overlap, you're going to get like a darker plum color. The yellow and the blue will make a green, and then the red and the yellow will make my orange. So I'm only going to be using 3 of the Atelier inks, but I really wanted to show you how well they blend and how well they overlap to create more colors. So this was my first time using these inks, and I'm really excited to use them more and more as I craft because I love the way they blended. I thought that they were perfectly smooth and wonderful. So I wanted to show you really quickly also how well they clean off of a stencil. These are kind of they're very heavily pigmented, I would say, and very creamy, but they wiped right off my stencil. I just used an ink off cloth to do that. So now I have a small watercolor brush from Ink on 3, and I actually have put some liquid pixie dust into it. I didn't dilute it or anything. I just removed the barrel, like unscrewed it, and where I would fill it with water, I filled it with liquid pixie dust. This is a tip that I got from Florette last year at Junkie Fest, and I've been doing that ever since, and I just love it. So I squeezed some out of that watercolor brush and just flicked it onto my background. So now I have sparkly flicks all over this gorgeous stenciled background. I also used the Paint Black Atelier ink, smushed that down onto my work surface, and flicked some of that on. So now I have all of this texture and color on that background. I'm going to be using the Fox and Bunny Hugs stamp set. This is one of the new 3x4 stamp sets. And I'm using Blackout Detail ink to stamp these images. I have used this ink for a long time, probably about a year now, to do most of my sentiment stamping and my image stamping and all of my primary black stamping because it's good for all kinds of coloring mediums. Now I wanted to show you this new Ink Off stamp cleaner pad. So first I wiped off my stamps with that ink off cloth, and then I just tapped this stamp pad on top just like you would if you were inking it. But check this out, it's cleaner in a stamp pad form. So fun, so cool. I thought this was totally awesome. So I just cleaned off my stamp and then I just wiped it off with an ink off cloth, which is just a microfiber cloth in this fun purple color. Such a fun addition to my craft room. Now I'm going to do some speed coloring here with some alcohol markers, and I am using the Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend markers, but like I said, this Blackout Detail ink is perfect for all kinds of coloring. So if you wanted to use colored pencils, you can watercolor. I just chose to use alcohol markers because this is what I keep on my craft table because these tri-blends are small and compact. So this is what I use for my coloring. When I color, I just add a quick layer of my lightest color, and then I go in with my dark to my medium, and then I blend it out with my light. So here you see me again just adding a little bit of brown gray to the face and the ear and the tail, and then I'm going to color in this little bunny with some gold brown markers. And again, just doing the same thing, starting with my light, then bringing in my dark, my medium, and my light again. And I kind of work in sections. So like I'll do the little bunny's head and ear and then his body, just to make sure. I want to keep that paper wet and saturated as I'm coloring. So that's why I work in smaller sections. So once I had him all colored, I cut out these cute little critters using my scissors, and I also stamped that sentiment and trimmed that into a banner. This is really going to be the finishing touches for my card. I'll use my T-square ruler to make sure that this sentiment gets added on to my card perfectly straight, and then I'll add that little fox and bunny image on top. Life would not be complete without some more liquid pixie dust, so I'm just going to paint that on over top of these cute little forest critters, and that will complete my card. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again really soon with another project using Ink on 3. See you soon. Bye.